Hey Tim, talking about 3 Nicholas Sparks adaptations, all from the aughts. And the names of those 3 films are The Notebook, Nights in Rodanthe, and A Walk to Remember. First up is The Notebook. This is a 2004 classic film starring Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams, and it was a really interesting experience because it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. If you're unfamiliar, the premise is that there's this old man reading this love story to this old woman in a nursing home, and she has dementia, and maybe he's dying, and maybe it's about them. And I really thought that the old people stuff was gonna feel more connected to everything else, when it really didn't. And honestly, I felt like it brought the movie down because it added this extra layer of melodrama to it that all these movies have melodrama, but it just seemed so over the top. The end is ridiculous, and I get why they went for that, but it's come on guys, tone it down a bit. Plus I don't feel like it fits with the rest of the story. It's just not there with the rest of the story. And the story is interesting because it's mostly about this one-time summer romance between these 2 hot people being hot together, and then them trying to reconnect again 7 years later. And I don't know, it's interesting because these people should not have ended up together for a myriad of reasons. Firstly, the summer romance, it's just hot, passionate sex the entire time. And they make one passing comment about oh, we constantly fight. And it's no, we should have seen them constantly fighting if that's actually indicative of what their relationship was, which it's supposed to be. Their relationship is supposed to be not good. They didn't actually want to show us the fighting because then we wouldn't believe that they're supposed to be together forever, because they shouldn't be. So they just kind of hint at the truth. But it definitely feels like it's this first whirlwind romance when that has no longevity to it. Their relationship is built on passion, and passion dies. Passion cannot be sustained forever because it needs fuel. And then when they reconnect 7 years later, it was again just a weekend of passion basically. And that's not the foundation to a good, long, healthy relationship. Man, all I'm doing is just shitting on this movie. I actually liked it a good solid amount. It's a quite so it's a 4 out of 5 for me. I like the performances a lot. I like Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams. Their performances that they brought here was really interesting. I do think the story was overall interesting, even if they're very flawed people. You can still enjoy a story about flawed people. That's definitely fine and acceptable, because I did right here. What really grabbed my attention too was Rachel McAdams' character's abusiveness, because she one time playfully hits Ryan Gosling, and I'm ooh, I don't like that playful hit. And then it came back into play later where she just beat the shit out of him. It's really interesting because she just starts beating him, and then he starts beating himself in response, which I don't know what to make of that, because that's just so foreign to me. So it was such an interesting moment that I haven't really stopped thinking about. So yeah, even though this movie definitely without a doubt has its flaws, it's still for sure an entertaining story that goes to some interesting places. I mean, the melodrama's there, and that's fine. I just like the old people stuff. I don't think the name really works, but I'm glad I watched it. It was a fun experience. So yeah, would I recommend it? Yeah, definitely. If you've never seen it before, or it's been a long time, it's worth a watch at least once. Next up is Nights in Rodanthe. This is a 2008 film starring Diane Lane and Richard Gere, and the basic premise is he recently murdered someone and she is probably gonna get divorced. So what better place for them to hook up than in the middle of a hurricane? Yeah, that's about it. I intentionally explained that kind of silly. It is pretty good though. I liked both the leads. I think they did a good job. There's definitely melodrama here, but I think it works for the most part. One of the worst scenes though was when he kind of confessed it was an accidental death. He's a doctor. It wasn't an intentional murder. But he explains himself in one scene of what's the whole situation. He's getting sued for negligent death and stuff. But then right after he talks about that, the next scene is Diane Lane going to Viola Davis being he's so dreamy and handsome. And I'm no, that's not what you talk about. He just explained how he killed a person. You do not get to talk about how hot he is right after he explains how he killed a person. That's weird tonal whiplash. Also, I enjoyed their friendship, but when it finally made the jump to kiss her, I'm like, what are you doing? Don't. This is not right. You're not there yet. You haven't built to this moment yet. And then like the rest of the movie was just them in a relationship, and I'm just like, yeah, you guys skipped a whole bunch of steps there. We needed some more time. We needed some more build up. And then like on top of that, the end is so unnecessary and so melodramatic. I get why they wanted to do it, because you gotta hit that sad tone. But based off of everything prior to it, it was the wrong ending. They went in the wrong direction. I think if it was more about like fleeting, beautiful moments, then yeah, I could see this kind of tragic ending making more sense. But that's not what it's about. It's about redeeming yourself and trying to better yourself as a person. And you can't better yourself as a person if you're dead. So what is the point of this movie? So yeah, I don't know. I without a doubt had a lot of problems with it, but I did still enjoy myself. I was entertained. I don't regret watching this movie. Would I recommend it? Cautiously. It's not a bad experience. Just prepare yourself for a lot of melodrama. Like if that's what you're in the mood for, yeah, then sure, go for it. You're not going to be disappointed with the levels of melodrama. So yeah. And lastly is A Walk to Remember. This is a 2002 film starring Mandy Moore. The basic premise is a douchey popular boy ends up almost killing a different boy, and then he is forced to be friends with other people and falls in love with the cute, adorable, religious girl. And it's so bad. It's so bad. It's riddled with so many cliches. Everyone in it is just atrocious, except for Mandy Moore, who is adorable and surprisingly well written. She is like she's in a completely different movie than everyone else. She's really the only reason I kept watching for as long as I did, is because I'm just like, you're delightful, you're fun, you're charming, you're smart, you're interesting. Why can't the rest of the movie be just like you? Hell, if the movie was exactly the same except she was the lead character, I would have watched the entire thing, because like, I hated the main guy so much. He wasn't a good actor in this. To his credit though, the script was atrocious and just everything from top to bottom was just so bad. I would imagine even very talented actors would have a hard time with this script. I especially hate just like cliched bullies. Those just like really grind my gears. There's so many different ways to do bullies, and like you have to just do the most standard version. Like, come on, be better. See, yeah, no, I did not care for this movie, and I do not recommend it. It is not a good film. Maybe if like you're super morbidly curious, but like, there's other bad movies that you can watch. Don't waste your time with this. Just no, nah. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got The Notebook, sitting number 68 in the Kuwait-like section. And then after that is Nights in Rodanthe, sitting number 88 in the light section. And then bringing up the rear is A Walk to Remember, sitting at number 122 in the didn't-like section. And this is a total of 126 old movies so far this year.